let's get right into it. Look, deploying an AI copilot into your enterprise environment is rapidly becoming the easy part, right? But redesigning the actual work around that technology, well, that's exactly where structural failure begins. In this explainer, we are dismantling a massive illusion, the idea that just deploying enterprise AI equals actual business transformation. We've got comprehensive survey data from Deloitte's AI Pulse Check. That's nearly 3,700 professionals weighing in, and it exposes a massive glaring gap. The technology is advancing way faster than the operating models, the governance frameworks, and the measurement systems we actually need to harness it. Just look at this number, 48%. Nearly half of all organizations surveyed report they've introduced artificial intelligence into their environments without actually redesigning the workflows or the roles where that tech sits. They are simply taking these incredibly advanced autonomous capabilities and, slapping them directly onto outdated pre-AI process maps. And let me tell you, that is not a strategy for transformation. That is just a compounding disadvantage.
So you really have to ask yourself a hard question about your own operational posture right now. Are you actually transforming workflows, or are you just speeding up your legacy bottlenecks? Because when you force advanced autonomy into unredesigned roles, the enterprise captures only a tiny fraction of the value. The hidden costs here are absolutely severe. Organizations that insist on keeping their old process logic in place, they are facing structurally higher costs and significantly less flexibility compared to competitors who are redesigning entirely around AI-native workflows.
All right, let's move into Section 1, an analytical postmortem on the 3 major enterprise AI gaps. First up, we're seeing a severe imbalance when it comes to AI governance. Autonomy is expanding rapidly, but corporate accountability frameworks are basically paralyzed. A whopping 69% of respondents sit at the most conservative end of the spectrum. They either allow zero AI autonomy whatsoever, or they restrict it strictly to low-risk, easily reversible actions. In stark contrast, only 12% report operating in a mature state, where AI runs end-to-end and humans audit the outcomes instead of having to approve every single little step. The big risk here is that your operational boundaries are emerging by default, just through isolated ad hoc experimentation rather than by intentional design.
So let's talk about how you actually climb the autonomy trust ladder, because the mechanics are incredibly strict. Moving from a restrictive, bottleneck system where humans have to approve all actions to a mature state where humans simply audit the outcomes, well, you don't get there just by writing a new corporate policy. It requires an earned operational track record. For the 34% of organizations still stuck at that humans approve all stage, the core blocker usually isn't the readiness of the AI model itself. It's actually a lack of rigorous monitoring infrastructure, the exact stuff required to build operational trust. You scale autonomy by starting with reversible automation, aggressively measuring the performance, and then expanding the scope only when reliability is totally proven.
Now, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding how these specific variables are what separate mere copilot experimentation from scalable, dominant performance. Remember those numbers? Only 12% of organizations have achieved work redesign at scale with a new operating model behind it. 69% are bottlenecked by restrictive governance. And honestly, perhaps most critically of all, only 4% are currently reporting AI value at the board level. These percentages aren't just trivia. They represent the exact friction points where enterprise AI initiatives just completely stall out.
This brings us to Section 2, structural friction factors, and the very real danger of architectural debt.
We have to draw a hard, sharp line between vanity metrics and reality. Tracking things like how many copilots are rolled out, how many employees have access, or daily login counts, those are profoundly poor proxies for actual transformation. True transformation metrics signify fundamental operational change. You absolutely must measure whether AI is changing what is fundamentally possible in a workflow. That means tracking shifts in cycle time, the sheer quality of outputs, and the actual transfer of decision ownership.
And you know what? This misalignment extends right into financial reporting. Most CFO and board reporting systems are structurally built to receive legacy, cost-based business cases. They're looking to measure efficiency and operational savings. But to survive the 2026 framework, you need multidimensional outcome measurement. The organizations that are really pulling ahead are measuring return on autonomy, or ROA. This tracks not just what AI costs or saves you, but how it fundamentally changes what your enterprise is capable of executing. Like I said, currently only 4% are executing this at the board level. If you keep relying on cost reduction scorecards, you are virtually guaranteed to fail at capturing improvements in decision quality and your overall competitive positioning.
So, let's get into the solution. Section 3, our tactical action plan, and the 2026 execution framework.
These sequential milestones, they are completely non-negotiable if you want to build an accountability model that scales securely without totally bottlenecking your innovation. Step 1. Treat ROI as a learning system. Define your success and your return on autonomy hypotheses before you even deploy. Step 2. Redesign and fully own just one workflow, end-to-end. Interestingly, 37% of organizations making the most progress use this exact starting point. Step 3. Establish absolutely clear escalation paths. You need to document which risks are reversible and exactly who owns the outcome when an AI-driven action fails, and do this before expanding autonomy. Finally, Step 4. Shift your reporting architecture entirely away from cost savings and move toward board-level strategic value.
The three-gate system is what actually forces this accountability in motion. By taking just a single workflow from end to end, you're going to surface governance gaps early, essentially testing your escalation paths in a safe, isolated environment. You simply cannot scale enterprise AI without this localized, fully governed testing ground. Moving on to Section 4, our media strategy and packaging blueprint. Look, to drive this kind of transformation, you can't just rely on spreadsheets. You have to build a precise internal communication strategy to really wake up your stakeholders.
Your core message to the board should be anchored in exactly 4 words: the 2026 AI trap. It's a highly provocative, high-stakes dilemma. It signals immediate operational danger to enterprise leadership and absolutely demands an answer to this massive gap between deployment and actual transformation. You've got to conceptualize this danger clearly to your organization. The reality we're facing is kind of like taking a glowing, hyper-modern AI processor and forcefully jamming it into a set of rusted analog gears. That image perfectly symbolizes the immense friction of layering new AI onto pre-AI workflows. To prevent a catastrophic operational failure, you have to present the autonomy trust ladder, the return on autonomy matrix, and the three-gate system directly to your leadership. All right, I'm going to leave you with this final assessment. As AI models inevitably improve and agentic capabilities mature, the cost of maintaining your outdated process logic, it's only going to compound. The gap between organizations who are just adding AI and those who are fully transforming with it will become ruthlessly visible in market performance. So here's the question. When your competitors redesign their operations entirely around AI-native workflows, will you still be stuck managing the friction of legacy processes?